Zacchaeus by name. Zacchaeus, come down from that tree. And then what does he do? He demands a party. He says, I must stay at your home right now. So Zacchaeus came down at once, happy to welcome Jesus. That's why the religious leaders grumble that Jesus goes to Zacchaeus' home, because they know. That's why the religious leaders grumble that Jesus goes to Zacchaeus' home, because they know what it signifies and the kind of message that it communicates. To sit at Zacchaeus' home was to dignify Zacchaeus. It was to say, he is mine, and he is welcome at my table, and he is in relationship with me. It's a symbol and sign, an act of restoration. It is the kind of act that Jesus tells about in the parable of the prodigal son. When the father rushes out on the road to meet the younger son, and he embraces him, and he clothes him, and he puts a ring on his finger, it is these symbols and signs that that boy is being restored to sonship. In the same way, when Jesus eats with Zacchaeus, it is a sign and a symbol that Zacchaeus belongs, which is why served, we don't know how many people were there, all things that I would have liked to know. We just know that the party is happening, and at that party that Zacchaeus is hosting, it says Zacchaeus stood up and said, Lord, look, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Jesus is with Zacchaeus. And because of Jesus' movement towards him, because of his presence, because of this restoring act, Zacchaeus moves towards Jesus and he repents and repairs. He takes an action that is repairing the damage and harm that Jesus declares that Zacchaeus is restored. That restoration has happened, that he is a son of Abraham, that he belongs at the table, and that salvation has come to this house. That is crazy. There's 2 things I think that are worth noting in this response that I'll try to say quickly. The first thing to pay attention to is that Jesus says, the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. Son of Man is Jesus' favorite nickname for himself. He says, I have come to seek and save the lost. Meaning that my work, my mission, my whole deal is this. What you're seeing happen at this table, that's the whole enchilada. Jesus, there's lots of stories of Jesus. There's lots of stories of Jesus. There's lots of things that Jesus is doing all the time. The gospel writers have to choose how they're going to align it, how they're going to tell that story. And this moment comes at a fascinating juncture. Because right before Zacchaeus restores and repairs, we learn a story about another very rich young ruler who comes to Jesus and he says, how do I become good? How do I follow you? How do I make it into the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus says, sell what you own and give it to the poor, and he cannot. It's an interesting way to begin this narrative. There's a rich young ruler who had followed every commandment but could not give up what he owned. And then the second moment that follows this story of Zacchaeus, Jesus enters into Jerusalem, and where does he go? The temple. And he enters the temple, and what does he find? He finds moneylenders and sellers, and Jesus sees it, tosses the church around a table who believe that he is present with us. As a people of God, our churches, our homes, and our lives can be places of restoration, like Zacchaeus' home was. They can be places where we get to participate in the whole-making work of God, the work of transforming lives and having our own life transformed. Or they can be places like the temple. The places where the religious leaders dwell and grumble about who Jesus spends his time with, but at the end of the day are obstacles to the work that God is trying to do in the world. And the choice for all of us in this room is ours. We get to decide what our homes are like. Are they like Zacchaeus' table or the temple?